why I don't want the young lady that I married to work. Hey yo, focus. There we go. Hey yo, I'm DT and y'all the fam, and this is Fam Talk. So we came to do what? Talk. So let's talk about it. Now, today's subject matter is why I, DT Fam, would like my wife not to work. So let me explain why I want to work to where I have enough funds to fund my family, to provide for my family, to be able to be comfortable, not living paycheck to paycheck. There's a difference between living luxury. I'm not a luxurious person. I don't need to have the nicest car. I don't need to have the nicest apartment, living in the best neighborhood. Good is good to me. I repeat, good is good to me. And so I'd rather have a nice, comfortable life. Because the problem with luxury is this. If you're chasing luxury, there's going to make something new, luxurious item next year. So I have a 2013 Camaro. That Camaro is a good running car. It's a beautiful car. It looks nice. And it's paid off. There's no need for me to buy a 2025 Camaro and end up paying all this amount of money. My lifestyle is very, very, very simple, but it allows me to do other things. If I want to travel, I can travel because I don't have to worry about $1,000 apartment or house note. I'm not worried about a $600-800 car note. I'm not worried about $200-300 car insurance. My bills in totality right now is only $1,500. My insurance is low. I have no car note. My apartment expenses is low. My bills are distributed very, 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 very simple. Then on top of that, I make more than that. I make more than enough not to live paycheck to paycheck. So, what I mean by okay, I'm okay with being okay. I'm okay with being okay, as in being simple. So with that being said, I understand the amount of money that I realistically know, because I went back and I've studied the cost of living in Alabama, the cost of living of different places. So I understand that in order for me to be comfortable, I need to make a certain amount. But also, if I'm asking my wife not to work, that means I have to compensate for everything that she doesn't bring. So I need to be mindful that if she gets sick, I need to have the funds and the insurance for her to go to the doctor. I need to understand that if the children get sick, I need to have the funds for the children to be able to be taken care of. If I get sick, I need to make sure I have the funds to take care of that. But that's where good budgeting and managing comes in at. My bills are $1,500. Why? Because I made them $1,500. Once again, my car is paid off. That's between $400 to $600 I don't have to worry about. My insurance is low. And I have full coverage. Why? Because I'm a safe driver. That's something I can control. My rent is fair. I'm not in the best area, but I'm not in the worst area. I'm in a good area that's safe and that's secure, that anybody can come over and feel safe and feel secure and not worried about being shot at or being harmed. Also, my location where I live at is close to my job, so my gas is low. I'm very intentional in what I'm doing. Very, very, very intentional with my decision making, as in budgeting. So I say this to say all this. I say that to say this. I've looked it up. I've done the research for it. So by the time I choose to get married, everything will be lined up. Only thing she has to do is just decide if she want to be a part of it and be plugged in. Now, this is the reason why I don't want my wife to work. She can work if she wants to, but I don't want her to. Because number one, the stress and strain of working. Just not too long ago, last year, on the news, on the local news, they were showing how women are just being burnt out of working. They're mentally drained, they're tired, they're frustrated because they have to work. Work. I didn't want to go biblical and be spiritual about it, but let's go down this little rabbit hole real quick. Work, if you are a Christian, for your Bible thumpers, work was a punishment. Well, not only say a punishment, work was a job for man. Man's punishment was this. Hey, he cursed the ground. You will work to the sweat of your brow of your eye until you die. It is a man's responsibility to work until he die. The woman, that wasn't her punishment. Her punishments were 3 different other things. Painful births, right? That's why women have pregnancies and things like that. Her desire would be to her husband, meaning that she would desire to have companionship, and she would desire to overtake him in leadership. That's the whole feminist movement, and that's why women say that I'm the man and I'm independent and I'm this, because what is independent? Independent of who? Independent of needing a man. Even though there's still an invisible man behind the scene called the government, or we won't go there. The third punishment was this. He will rule over her. So, I understand that the woman already has 3 punishments already. Why would I invite her to my punishment? Why would I want her to stress and strain and work? Why? See, I want my wife to have the softest life possible. I don't want her to stress and worry over things such as that. I want her to worry about the kids dirtying up the house. I want her hardest decision is how do I want my nails to be done? How do I want to do my hair for the banquet we're going to? What am I cooking today? I want those to be her biggest arguments. I don't want her to come home and she's stressed out because she mad at Susie because Susie's not doing her job, or she mad at Bob because Bob won't turn the air conditioner down, or she mad because all these customers keep on cussing out. I don't want her to experience those stresses. I don't want my wife to work because I want her to have a soft life, because she was intended to have a soft life. Men are hard. Our muscles are hard. Women are soft. Their lives are supposed to be soft in that manner. Also, number 2, I want her to be heavily involved in the kids' lives. Now, I understand women work extremely hard to get their degree and get their career. Cool. I understand that. That's fine. And if my wife wants to work, she can work. However, I will request, demand, and ask her to. This is not up for debate. She would have to sit and not work the first 3 to 5 years of our child's life. Not bargaining. Why? Because I want her to be able to fully enjoy motherhood, to fully enjoy being around the kid. I personally was abused as a kid by different babysitters. I know other people who was abused by babysitters. Also, a lot of kids don't know who they are because they're being taught by outside influences. Now, once the kid was like 5 and go to private school or elementary, cool. Well, she can go back to work if she wants to. But I don't want her working during the time of the kid. Also, as in with me, by the time I get married, I'm going to have a job that's going to give me the freedom and time to be able to be there around the kid too. That's why I'm pursuing the career field that I'm pursuing. See, there is a gentleman by the name of LeVar Ball. I don't understand why people don't talk about him more often, but he was super intentional in his decision, as in picking a wife, as in his decision of how he raised his boys. Well, his boys know exactly who they are because their father gave everything to them, so they can be impressed by the world. They cannot be tempted by the world. Well, they could be tempted, but it'll be way more difficult to be convinced, tempted, or swayed away from what he taught them. I do extremely a lot of studying. I listen to extremely a lot of different audiobooks. I want to put my family in the best position to be successful in America, in the United States, in the place that we live. I want them to have the opportunity that I didn't, but I'm going at a very strategic, different way. Keyword, remember, I want my wife to have a soft life. I don't want her to have to go to work and think about parenting at the same time. Because contrary to most belief, it is hard for women to multitask those emotions. If you do studies, most child abuse come from women. And what typically happens is this: you do your own research for yourself. Go look this up for yourself. I'm not providing you no information, because I've learned whatever information I present is not believable. You say, here's the stats. Who did the stats? Here's my personal experience. Oh, you're just hurt. So I encourage you to look it up for yourself. Look it up for yourself and find out for yourself. But you would discover that most child abuse come from women, come from the mothers. And it comes from the mothers due to the stress of doing both. They have a long day, they have a bad day, and they come home and they take their frustration out on the child. Now, for people say men do it too, look, I am a heterosexual man. I like women. I deal with women. I don't care what men do. I don't date men. You take your camera, take your phone, you put a tripod on it, you press record, and you talk about it. But there's no male slander on this platform. Nah. We deal with women. But also, once again, we're talking about DT fam specifically. This is what I specifically want for my wife. And I've talked to women, and I went out on dates with women, and I told women, hey, look, this is what I expect. Why do I expect this? Because I take on the full responsibility of being what a man needs to be. That's why I said earlier, I'm creating this lifestyle, because I understand that if I'm doing this, she's going to expect something else. But also, I need to be able to provide that. Which also means I got to be very, very strategic as in who I'm planning to marry, who I talk to. And these conversations need to be had. I'm just sharing the conversation with y'all, because y'all my people, and I like to talk to y'all. But this is the train of thought that I have. I do not want my wife to work. She has the option. She's not a slave. If she want to work, she want to work. However, if she chooses to work, I'm going to tell her, don't come home telling me about your problems at work. I'm I'm not listening. Because that's something that you're choosing to do. You're choosing to do. Now, if I say that for whatever reason, I'm not in a position where I can do everything. Say that I get injured, I get hurt, and disability, and she has to work, then that changes everything. But my grandfather passed away in 2003, right? My grandmother to this day has not had to work. See, the responsibility of a husband is to take care of his family. Even until death, the Bible says a good father leaves an inheritance to his children. He leaves a house. My father passed away in 2008. There is a lot of land in Birmingham that's left to me. I have an inheritance. I could build a house on that property. But anyway, my grandmother to this day has not had to work. Over 20 plus years, she has not had to work. Ever since she was married to him, she never worked. Now, once again, I gave the example of LeVar Ball, the example of my grandfather. All these ideas came from just me and my heart, for me watching and me wanting to be successful and having a successful relationship and having a successful family. Having a family that I can be proud of, that I helped put together, which is called a legacy. See, I don't have any kids that I know of. I say that because there's a reason I don't drink Hennessy anymore. So we'll leave it at that right there. You can fill in the blanks. But I did go through 2 miscarriages with my ex-girlfriend, with one of my exes. At the time, I was distraught, I was broken, I was torn down. But now being older and being a man, I'm grateful that I didn't have those kids at that time. And I'm grateful I didn't have the kids with that woman. Take it how y'all see it. Take it as whatever. But I'm grateful for it. Because I would not have I would not have put my children, my child, in the best position. Even though it hurt, it was necessary. And now me being older, being wiser, now which I've studied, now I know better. And now I'm moving forward. See, I told myself that I will want to get married by the time I'm 40. I'm 39. I have 1 more year. Really, I have less than a year to finish piecing this stuff together. That's making sure the credit's together, savings together, health together. And having a place of my own. See, they say this. Women don't want to build. They want to move in. Cool. I accept that. Let me make sure I have a building that's worth moving into. But here's the other side to it. Here's the flip side. Now, since this room is built, this building is laid out, I now pick and choose who comes in. So as I become more stable, my standards. But that's for another conversation. But overall, in conclusion, I don't want my wife to work. Because I don't want her to be stressed out at work. And I want her to be able to be there for the child and raise the child. Those are 2 it. Now, that's the goal. Will that necessarily happen per se? Lord willing, perfectly it will. But that's the goal and that's the logic behind it. Because when I'm having these conversations with women on dates, I'm having to break this down to them. Because they've been taught through the feminist movement, don't trust a man. A man has leverage. If he works, he does this, you have no power. That's not the goal. Because I believe that when man and woman become one flesh, they're one. So like marriage is when man and woman become one flesh, become one body. What is mine belongs to you. Do with it as you please. But I'm also planning to marry a woman that is disciplined, that does not need the world. You have too many women who are influenced by everybody but their husband. And not enough men know how to vet a woman to know if she's for him or if she's for herself. That may be the next topic for Fam Talk. The desire dynamic. But with that being said, that's my thoughts, that's my opinion, that's how I feel, that's my movement. As always, man, y'all make sure y'all like, subscribe, and I love y'all. Till next time, peace.